Hello and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove. I'm joined by my man who is my partner in podcast and soon to be my partner on tour. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello.
We are going on tour.
We are.
I hope people know by now, but we need to keep letting people know. The World Cup Comedy Tour is coming. It starts July 17th.
And we guarantee it will be at least as entertaining as France-Denmark.
Ooh, spoiler alert, but there wasn't much to spoil.
No.
Right? So, quick plug for World Cup Comedy Tour. WorldCupComedyTour.com, you will see all the dates. We are touring with the Cooligans and other stand-up comedians. They'll be doing the comedy. We'll be doing some other like soccer on-stage trivia stuff. Again, no stand-up routines from me or Taylor, unless you're working on an hour.
No. I was going to go like more hacky comedian routes, but I think we've already done that one. So I'll just say no. I'm not planning on launching my stand-up career on this tour.
Oh, I'd love if we could convince you to. Just give it a go. No? All right, so...
What about if somebody were to do something? I think it might go like this.
Think it might go something like this. Yeah. That's when you leave the room, right? Do not watch that stand-up comedian. All right, France, Denmark. Group C finale. We haven't seen the Group D games yet, so at the time of recording, only Group C. Let's just spoil it all right now. So if you don't want to know what happened in Group C, we're going to spoil it all right now.
Yep.
France, Denmark, no goals. We have the first goalless draw of World Cup 2018.
Yes. Here is how...
all the soccer haters are correct.
Here's how dull this game was. At one point, a Danish player needed treatment and was had the medical team come out. They took the player off, and you could see the backs of their warm-up jackets to reveal that, I guess the Danes spell it D-A-N-M-A-R-K. So then I just spent spent 5 minutes being like, I wonder what other countries have two first names in them. That's really what I was doing at parts of this game.
You didn't let me in on any of this. I assumed you were sort of Googling stats and really focused in on the game.
I was just really hoping that out there somewhere is like Christeve, the Republic of Christeve or something.
Let's focus in on the other game briefly as well because it impacts what happens in France-Denmark. So spoiler alert for Peru-Australia. Australia needed to win to put pressure on Denmark to get a result. Fair enough. Peru won.
Yes.
Peru got their World Cup glory. They beat Australia 2-0. Let's review that game second. Let's think about what happened in France-Denmark, which was not much. But I think the thing we like to do on the Total Soccer Show is explain why did not much happen.
Sure.
Because you would think theoretically there's a lot more talent on the field than we saw in this 0-0 draw.
Yes. And it had, the Danish coach heading into this one, Aga Harita, had said, we're going to be kind of attacking. We're not just going to sit back. It's a change in mentality just to park the bus.
So he's no longer trustworthy?
Well, I don't necessarily think he was making that up. I think there's a decent chance. I mean, you know that people on the sideline are aware of the results in the other game and are paying attention to the results in the other game.
Yeah.
So I think given that Peru go ahead, in the 18th minute, I think that sort of tells Denmark, look, it's very unlikely that Australia are going to get 2 goals, or if they do, we'll know that things have changed. But we can now afford to sit off a little bit. We don't need to be too adventurous. We don't need to get blown up for 4 goals, and it kind of destroys our chemistry. We also don't need to risk people getting injured.
Yep.
So I think that was when Denmark were a little bit more okay with a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, wasn't a draw always good enough for them?
Yes. Actually, now that you mentioned it, because I think that gives them 5 points. Yeah, so probably so, yes. Then they definitely don't need to then extend themselves, get stretched, concede a counterattack goal, and put themselves in a vulnerable position.
So Denmark set themselves up in a 4-1-4-1. Yep. They had Andreas Christensen, who is mostly a centre-back, if we're honest. I know he's played a little midfield, but he played as the one lone defensive midfielder in the 4-1-4-1. And I would say they never really ventured beyond sitting in that shape in their own half. No, being kind of compact, leaving some of the opposite side wing open, but never enough for France to switch the ball and have any space to work in.
Right. And, I think maybe there were some of those opportunities for France. I also think France weren't inclined to take those. I think they too...
or not capable of taking those.
That's also a possibility. But I think they too didn't want to risk making a mistake, conceding like a quick counterattacking goal. Suddenly now they've lost a position top of the group. Didier Deschamps is already getting criticism for some of his selections, some of his formations. If you lose this one and suddenly you're in second place,
I see.
You play Croatia, maybe that doesn't go well. If Croatia end up topping their group, then maybe you could get a lot more pressure. So again, I think it's the recipe for two teams, neither of whom really want to get stretched or be too creative to play a game that wasn't too stretched or too creative.
It was almost a gentleman's handshake, 0-0.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think we saw the regular France problems of being unable to really create something, right? And again, Pogba rested because he's got yellow card hanging over him. Matuidi rested, yellow card hanging over him. So we didn't see either of those guys. But France is famously deep with talent, right? Like when the guys you bring in are like Thomas Lemar, you're doing pretty well. But what I saw is that same French problem where I would describe it as there's no plan. There's no synchronization. There's no pattern where Giroud moves to pull out space and everybody knows he's going to do that so that, say, Lemar can run into it. And then there's some combination in midfield that everyone aims toward that space. Yep. It very much felt like we have a lot of talented players. We're going to just slowly, statically move the ball around. One of them will make something happen. Yeah. And that never, ever works.
No, I think I always go back to World Cup 98 is, I think, probably my favorite World Cup in my lifetime, even though it was disastrous for the U.S. But like the review video that I owned and watched a million times, it had a line about Brazil after they lost to Norway that it was like, beaten by Norway, there was about Brazil like a vulnerability that individual brilliance fought to disguise. Yeah. That right there is France. That it's like, you don't see, as you said, you don't see a lot of like, oh, he has the ball, clearly this person is doing this, Giroud is running behind, there's these options. It just sort of is like, oh, he's got the ball, and now he's got the ball, and now he's got the ball. But now Kylian Mbappe has it, and he did 4 step-overs.
And normally I wouldn't accuse a national team coach of letting that be the case, but the more I see France, and I've seen a lot of France this last couple of months, because we watched a lot of their warm-up games, that just seems like the plan the whole time is just keep moving the ball around our talented players and one of them will do something. And the only time it ever works is when Kylian Mbappe is one of those players. He's the one guy who can improv and really lift France out of the like turgid, slowly moving the ball around situation.
I would say, or when their opponent plays into that a little bit, as Peru did in that win.
Yes.
Exactly, because they needed to get a result, so they had to go for it a little bit more. That leaves space in behind, that leaves gaps that those types of brilliant players, those world-class players, can find. But if you're playing a team that are kind of content to defend and really not allow you much space, and you, France, are content to move the ball slowly, put your foot on it, take 4 touches when 2 would have done, then it kind of is a recipe for a 0-0 draw.
All right, a couple of French guys came in who hadn't been starting, specifically Sidibe, played right back ahead of Pavard. Sidibe had that horrible mistake to allow Julian Green to score in the warm-up friendly. This was maybe his potential redemption game. I don't think he took that chance at all.
And I would say same for Benjamin Mendy, who came on as a 49th minute substitution for Hernandez. Apparently those 4 minutes of the second half weren't enough for Didier Deschamps. In came Benjamin Mendy. We both love Benjamin Mendy. We're excited to see him in there.
Shock team.
I think one of the first things he did, we think it was him, was pass the ball out of bounds. On his side, Sidibe at the very end dribbled out of bounds, and it was just some sloppy moments there. But I think it wouldn't be such a big deal, except that the game was already sort of looking for some attention-grabbing moment. And so when Sidibe has already made that mistake against the USA, to see him basically just take a touch and go straight out of bounds, it's a good reminder of like, oh, right, this is why you're not starting anymore.
I kind of imagine Pavard just sitting back watching that being like, all right, I'll get ready for the round of 16 then.
And my place is secure.
I'm starting. All right, anything else on this game? I'm ready to move on.
I would say same as for Thomas Lemar, who came in, and I believe in the 63rd minute, he got the ball in the middle, looked right, looked central, looked left, turned and played the ball straight out of bounds to no one. And it was just more of that. Didn't really know what else to do, but recognized that he was holding the ball too long, so tried to move it too fast, passed it out of bounds. I think that's a good representation of what France did in this game. We did give them credit for figuring out a solid game plan against Peru, so we'll see what they do when it gets to the knockout round.
Man-Mark Advincula, for example. Oh, really final thing. We noted in studio that France essentially looked like bad England. Where you just hope your good players make something happen and the passing's very static. They looked a bit like Euro 2016 England against Iceland. But I would also say credit to Denmark, because Denmark here showed that they're capable of executing a 4-1-1, don't take any chances, frustrate the opposition, get what we need, which is 1 point game plan. So that could be a thing to watch in the round of 16 as well, depending on who they play from Group D.
Here's a brutal segue. Things we won't be watching in the round of 16 is Peru and Australia.
Ooh, Taylor Rockwell. Okay, so Australia went into this knowing they had to win and they had to hope for France beating Denmark, essentially, right? What they got was a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Peru. I think Australia started too conservative.
Agreed.
I watched the first 15 minutes or so. We did a 2-screen thing. They didn't.
We watched the whole game, but I think we paid particular attention to the first 15 or so minutes of this game.
Well, we also went back and I checked to see did they press from kickoff kind of thing, and they didn't. They were still hoping to counter Peru's attack, which somewhat makes sense, right? but they just didn't have anything dangerous enough to threaten Peru on the counter.
Yeah.
And in the end, it was Peru countering on Australia.
Yes.
The first goal essentially comes from Australia getting stripped of the ball and Peru going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Peru, I mean, it is a really pretty goal, if not a technically sound one, because it's a nice ball over the top from Yotun. Mm-hmm. We think Guerrero would have been about a half step offside, maybe a whole step. Who knows?
We measured it. We put the piece of paper on the screen, lined it up with the moan lines.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But then Sainsbury, the Australian centre back, he tries to make a play on the ball. He gets a foot to it, but it still falls into the path of Guerrero. Mm-hmm. But once he has made a play on the ball and made contact, it kind of negates that offside.
Just like Dejan Lovren for Liverpool against Spurs back in the day. Yeah. So once he touches it, it negates the offside.
There we go.
Guerrero's in there. Mm-hmm. He's looking for the pass to Christian Cueva, and I'm all about Christian Cueva getting himself a goal at this World Cup. It's not on. And so this is where I think Guerrero does something very smart, is he holds up, waiting for the cavalry to arrive.
The secondary run,
waiting for Han Solo to arrive late and save the day. Spoiler alert for Star Wars 1977.
Fair. But in this case, I guess Han Solo is Carrillo.
Yeah.
Makes that great run to the back post, hits it really well first time out of the air. It's a chipped ball across the box from Guerrero. Mm-hmm. And Carrillo, given that he's running at full speed to get in position, the fact that he's then able to hit this with perfect form, with perfect technique, gets his hips around it, then gets it down so that it stays low, puts it in the far corner. It's a lovely, lovely goal from Peru.
Top work, Carrillo. And second goal in the second half, which is the goal that causes Australia to finally rethink some things, get Tim Cahill on, get Daniel Arzani on. Mm-hmm. Too little, too late.
All they needed was 3 goals. Yeah.
All they needed was 3 goals at that point, and to hope that France scored against Denmark.
Also that,
Sorry, Australia fans. I know this is probably quite painful to hear.
But it's probably a thing. I mean, even I'm sure they're frustrated with the fact that the team is out, but I think they're also fully aware that it was problems from the beginning that kind of set Australia up to not be as successful. And I think you look at their team, and it was a conservative approach, as you said, not just in terms of the way they chose to approach this game from a sitting back and looking to counter standpoint, but in the personnel. We didn't see a lot of experimentation there, as you said. So I think Australian fans will be frustrated, probably not with pundits for saying that they didn't look very good, probably with the people who were responsible for making them not look good.
And we do have some sympathy and even some, can we have empathy, since Australia did look a lot like certain US teams that we've seen go to tournaments.
View behind the curtain is that Daryl was just narrating this game, doing the play-by-play as though it was the US playing.
Which is it very well could be, right?
Bradley on the ball, puts his foot on it.
Could happen.
Yep.
And the frustrations people have had, for example, with, say, Graham Zusi at right back for the United States, you could have the same frustrations with Josh Risdon at right back for Australia. Not just the controversy over the penalty kick against France, but he is somewhat responsible for Peru's second goal.
Very responsible.
Very responsible.
Yeah, because I think he fails to close down Cueva in the beginning, so Peru have the ball in their half. Cueva has created a little bit of space for himself on the far touchline. Risdon spots this and goes charging forward to try to cut that out for some reason, even though, again, I don't think it's in an area of the field where Cueva is going to be doing anything particularly dangerous. But because Risdon pulls himself out, there's space behind. It's a really good little run from the left back for Peru, whose name is, thank you.
Trauco and Cueva have that nice 1-2.
Buying time, yep. And then and then Trauco plays in.
Cueva again.
There we go. And away they go. And then Cueva's able to find Paulo Guerrero. Paulo Guerrero, again, another little tidy finish, gets the volley on it, gets his World Cup goal. So that's all very good.
Yep.
But again, it's Risdon, I think, over-pursuing and not being as confident, and then kind of switching off. He over-pursues, and then he leaves
under-pursues, I think, so Paulo Guerrero, there's obviously the big story before the World Cup of him being banned for the drugs testing with the T. Then he gets that overturned. He's hugged all the captains who helped him, in some part, helped him get that overturned. Paulo Guerrero gets his World Cup goal. I think his assist, weirdly, is better because his goal takes a deflection, and there's a deflection on the pass to him, but he celebrated that in a way that was joyous. Joyous. So Guerrero, towards the end of his career, very likely he retires from international football soonish, unless he's got a 2019 Copa America in him.
Aspirations, yeah.
But he got to the World Cup and he got his goal.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it is the kind of maybe happy story that we didn't get from Egypt and Saudi Arabia yesterday, that he gets his goal.
I mean, it's happy for Saudi Arabia. They got their win.
Yeah, it's a good point. You're right. And then it's happy for Peru and maybe less happy for Australia. But I think most neutrals were pleased to see Peru kind of go at an opponent, get some goals, finish the tournament with some points.
There is an alternate reality. There are 2 timelines. There's one where Christian Cueva scores that penalty kick instead of missing it over the bar against Denmark, where Peru are not just the sympathetic darlings of the World Cup. They're the attacking, exciting darlings that got results and are going through to the round of 16.
Unfortunately, after full time in the Australia-Peru game, he broke down. He was like sobbing uncontrollably. The theory being that he was fully aware that missed penalty might have changed some things.
Can I ask you what do you make of Quaver's tournament? Because we've watched him 3 times now, and we were very aware of him going in. And I'm in this weird spot. I can tell you my feelings before I ask yours. I'm in this weird spot where I've been impressed with everything I've seen from him. Right, he still looks the player that we thought he was, but he's also disappointed because on the biggest stage he somewhat let them down.
I mean, he let them down with a penalty that maybe we didn't think is the best technique overall. We've seen other penalties he takes, and he uses that same approach, which I don't think is ideal. So maybe I wouldn't let him take penalties for me, as harsh as that sounds. Yeah. But no, I think he would be an excellent signing, especially given the estimated price tag. I think a lot of clubs would do well signing him.
So he's with Sao Paulo in Brazil.
That sounds familiar.
And the estimated price tag you said was $10 million? I
think that was...
Where'd you get a number from?
I think that might have just come from Zach Goldman throwing some numbers in the air. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But I trust Zach. Why not?
But an example would be, say, DC United, if they were looking for an attacking midfielder.
I mean, they've got several, but I think, again, that was Goldman's point, is it's not like they need more midfielders, but at the price they're going to be paying for Wayne Rooney, maybe you get somebody who can offer you a little more dynamism.
Or how about, to give Christian Quaver much bigger horizons, a move to Europe?
Yeah.
I think he could definitely handle it somewhere, maybe even Premier League, maybe even Wolverhampton Wanderers.
There you go. There's the tradition of Daryl linking people with Wolverhampton. I would say Advíncula.
Does he have George Mendes' number?
Probably. I would say Advíncula is the other one who I think he looked good in this game. He still got involved in the attack whenever possible. He helped spark some plays, but also stayed back, was defensively sound. I think he's another one who maybe will be arching an eyebrow of a Premier League scout or two.
I'm not sure he quite has the technique to deliver consistent crosses.
How dare you?
My apologies to Advíncula.
All right, so 4 more teams, 2 more games to get to for today. But first, a word from today's sponsor.
Today's sponsor is Liverpool Jeans, premium quality at non-premium prices.
And I can vouch for that. I'm wearing them right now. They're like a slightly gray olive color, and I'm digging them. Even though it's like 100 degrees outside, they're breathable and they're comfortable, which is key.
So yeah, we had the denim jeans earlier. We also have tried out they're still denim, right? But they look more pants-like, I'm going to say.
They feel definitely like not quite as harsh as denim can feel, I'll say that. So I get the idea of how you can wear them like in a casual setting, or you can dress them up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Throw a blazer on and look smart,
Throw
as
a blazer
people
on?
from the 1950s would say. Yeah.
Look spiffing, I believe they would say in the 50s. Or maybe I'm more 30s.
Did you say spiffing?
Yeah. Wrong country.
Okay.
They are Liverpool jeans.
I've heard spiffy. I've never heard spiffing.
They are Liverpool jeans,
okay.
right? As in, like, across the pond.
All right.
The other thing we like about Liverpool jeans is the setup is 99% cotton, 1% stretch. So they've got what I've been calling tactical flexibility. So there's always just a bit of room to stretch if you need it. That can be your waistline. That can be maybe you just want to bend your leg around. Maybe you want to crouch. The jeans will stretch just enough to support you.
I'm also very thankful for the fact that it's pretty easy to take care of them. Sometimes with fancy garb, you have to actually read the instructions before you throw them into the washer.
All right, if you're going to call me on spiffing, I'm calling you on garb.
Why is that?
Do you often call your clothes garb?
Of course. I'm fancy like that, Daryl. I'm fancy like that. And if you would like to be fancy as well, go to liverpooljeans.com and you can use the TSS promo code TSS, not surprisingly, to get 20% off.
Yeah, 20% off at liverpooljeans.com. The link will be in the show notes. Would say they are not associated with LFC, but if you're a Liverpool fan, then maybe Liverpool jeans, it's jeans you should be thinking about at the very least.
Okay.
Yes?
Yep. All right. Or if you're not a Liverpool supporter, if you maybe support their arch rival, it's still okay to wear them as well.
I mean, you are.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about the finale of Group D.
Let's do it.
All right, so this was always going to be a dramatic one, right? Because going in, it's Argentina-Nigeria. Argentina needed a win, and it was Iceland-Croatia. And I believe with an Iceland victory, they could have knocked out Argentina, even if Argentina won.
Yes.
Lots of permutations in Group D. Nigeria mostly just needed a draw.
Yep.
All right, we're going to spoil all that, and then we're going to get into it. So, spoiler alert for the Group D finale in 3, 2, 1. Iceland lost. So Croatia through and happy. No Iceland. Argentina beat Nigeria 2-1 with a late goal from Marcus Rojo. Marcos Rojo was the hero of the hour for Argentina with a late goal from across. The centre-back up at centre-forward temporarily.
And I'm going to say this, even though it doesn't make sense, it felt like it was coming and simultaneously felt like it was not coming for Argentina.
Oh, please explain.
Because there are those games when you can just feel it. You can feel like, oh, man, they're building and they're building and they're building and they're moving it around and it feels like it's coming. They just need that one opportunity and then that chance happens. It kind of felt like it happened when Gonzalo Higuain missed in the 80th minute.
Yeah.
But then they managed to pull it off at the death. Well done, Marcos Rojo. Well done, Argentina, who advanced to play France in the knockout round.
So should we go through this game somewhat chronologically, starting with the lineup?
That works.
How about that? Because that was the big talking point, right? I have, outside of US games and England games, I have never been so curious and excited to see a starting 11 announced.
Yes.
So 1 p.m, an hour before kickoff, I was checking my phone. If you're not familiar, the backstory is that the first game was like a 4-2-3-1, the draw with Iceland, that I think the players had some input on. That didn't go so well. So the second game was Jorge Sampaoli, the head coach's 3-4-3 system. Disaster. And essentially, we don't know the exact things that have happened, but it definitely seems like player power is in the ascendancy in the Argentina locker room.
Yeah.
So I was interested to see what lineup results from player power.
Yeah,
right?
And what we got was kind of what we expected yesterday when we went through who we thought would start for Argentina.
Yes.
You had Marcos Rojo, the aforementioned, return to the lineup. You had Ever Banega. You had Gonzalo Higuain start. It felt like much more of a, like, oh yeah, these guys all hang out at each other's houses in the off-season sort of lineup.
And it was a 4-2-3-1, sort of. Because Messi's role is the important difference.
Yeah. I would say you could get away with calling it a 4-4-2 with like Messi as your second striker, but sort of allowed to do whatever he wants.
How about if we wanted to call it a 4-4 free roll for Messi 1?
Agreed.
Yeah.
That works for me.
I think that's really accurate.
Yeah.
I think this was all set up to not just in the 3-4-3, Messi is placed on the right side of a front three and just told, do your thing there.
Yep.
In the 4-4 free roll Messi 1, he's really told, do whatever you think is best and we will accommodate you, because he played sort of underneath Higuain, but then he loves to drift to the right, where he starts with his left foot and comes in, drift to the right. And then there's a guy Perez on the right wing who's essentially told, you're the right winger, but if Messi wants to come over there and play over there, then you come and drop into central midfield, right? And that sounds disrespectful to Perez, but I think that's the way they like to set the team up, right?
Yeah. I think so. And I think it's evidenced by jumping ahead a little bit to the celebration following Messi's opening goal. Is everybody's hugging, everybody's celebrating. The two who end up walking back to like midfield together are Perez and Messi, and it's a pretty animated conversation, mostly from Messi's side, with a lot of directing and pointing.
Yeah.
And I think that's him sort of saying, like, this is what you need to be doing when I'm doing this, and it's kind of figuring it out as they go, because there were a few shaky moments in the first half, but it did feel like they kind of figured out the rhythms as they went.
So Perez's job is in some ways to make space for Leo Messi.
Yeah.
And that's not just don't be in the way, it's also, you start there and move out of the way. You maybe drag someone with you, and then Leo Messi can wander into that space. So it's a weirdly important role that he has, and it takes a suppressing of your own ego to be willing to do that job for Leo Messi.
I think if it's Leo Messi asking, it's pretty easy to suppress your ego unless you're like one of 4 players on the planet. But I also think the other interesting thing...
Well, you have to always tell me who those 4 are.
I shouldn't have said players. I should have just said people.
Okay.
But I also think it was telling that in the Croatia game, we kept seeing Messi when
Argentina-Croatia?
When he would like get on the ball and look creative, it was usually him taking the ball off of somebody who was occupying the same space.
That didn't sit well with me.
And you sort of got that vibe of like, okay, I'm going to take the ball, you go away for a while, and I'm going to do stuff.
So this was like the functional version of that?
Yeah, kind of. It was more like you play me the ball and then you vacate the space. Or it wasn't so much like him having to go back and get it, him having to take it off a midfielder. It was him being comfortable to move around and keep distance from every other defender, so he kept finding himself in space.
I think that's the thing. I think that's the exact thing. I would also say, if you look at Messi's approach to this game versus the Croatia game, he was much more willing to press and chase and just cause trouble when Nigerian defenders had the ball.
Yeah, it was like inside the first 2 minutes, he goes on like a 40-yard run to chase down a defender who has the ball.
And I think that's true for the whole team, right? Mascherano had 2 slide tackles inside the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
And I think maybe that is symptomatic of the team just believing in what they're doing and being really up for it, and to use an Argentinian idiom, had their hearts beating hot in their chest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think...
Pecho no frio? Something like that?
Just
no pecho frio?
Not being told to do some tactics that you don't want to do and being sulky about it, versus more or less having a very big say in your own tactical setup and shape and personnel. Gives you more pride and more like, we'll show you and we'll get through this. And I think that's weirdly part of the reason Argentina performs so much better.
Yes.
Yeah?
And I think the thing that we're both kind of hesitating on is, and we can get to this later, I don't know where this leaves them going forward in this competition, but maybe we should talk about this game first.
Yeah. I mean, but let's talk about the performance in this game, right? They won, but it wasn't like they coasted and won 3 or 4-0 and everybody's like, oh, Argentina looking good now.
Yeah, and that's what I meant in the beginning when I said, like, it looked like it was coming, but it also didn't, because it wasn't them moving the ball around and really probing and finding a vulnerability and exploiting it. It comes from like a mishit cross and then a mishit pass and then not a lucky cross, but a cross, kind of a hopeful one into the box.
Yep.
Somebody gets on the end of it, a center back gets on the end of it. That's
Marcus
not
Rojo?
that's not the way it was drawn up, I guarantee you.
But it does, but not drawn up this way, but it fits the global narrative. Leo Messi with the opening goal.
Yes.
So we've got to talk about this opening goal because it really is, it's peak Leo Messi, those 3 touches, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting, the man who wins the game is also the man who kind of starts this move. Marcos Rojo beats Kelechi Iheanacho to the ball, wins it off of him, which was a common theme for Iheanacho on the day.
So I like Iheanacho, right? I admire what he did in Nigeria's previous game against Iceland. He looked very hesitant in this game.
Yes. We saw him like hesitating to shoot when he probably should have. We saw him hesitating to pass. Sometimes we saw both at once. It was no surprise to me that he made way at halftime. I do think Ighalo looked much sharper, even though he himself missed a couple chances of his own.
But, sorry, I sidetracked us. Marcus Rojo wins the ball off Iheanacho, strides forward, gives it to Ever Banega. So Ever Banega, another one of those players, recalled to the lineup since the last game with some player input. It's Banega lifts a beautiful diagonal ball into the path of the man they call Leo Messi.
Yep. And as Messi makes a very smart run again, operating in that space that we had just been talking about, he has the room to...
No Perez, right? There was no Perez there. So that suggests maybe Perez vacated and left him.
Perez definitely had come central at that point. And I think number 1 is an outlet for Banega, but number 2, when he comes central, he brings another defender with him. He opens up opportunities for Messi. Messi is, I think, between the left back and the center back. He's found that gap.
Idowu and Amaru.
Yep. And Amaru, I think, expects the run to come across like laterally across his front, and Messi feints that way, then cuts inside, makes that run towards goal. Banega times that ball perfectly, and it's over the top. Messi, 3 touches, and it's in the back of the net.
It's what? Thigh, left foot, strike with the right. Left thigh, left foot, strike with the right.
Yep.
And I think in that move, as the ball comes down, it's that left-footed touch that makes all the difference. The left-footed touch, like thigh then left foot, that takes him away from Amaru, and I think starts to worry the goalkeeper. Is it Uzoho?
Uzoho,
excuse me.
I think I would agree. I would say maybe it's even that first touch, because I think if you're a goalkeeper and you see that ball coming over the top, the velocity and how much distance it's traveled, you would be safe to assume, that first touch is going to be a couple yards ahead. Yeah. I'll be able to come out, slide out, collect it, and sort of beat the attacker to it. But I think he doesn't gamble on it being Leo Messi, and that first touch with the thigh kills it completely. The second touch puts it in exactly the right position for Messi to shoot. And I think Uzoho, who has started to come out, stops and immediately backpedals, and from that point is absolutely not confident in his positioning or his footwork. You can see when Messi ends up shooting that by the time Uzoho's feet are set and he starts to dive, the ball is pretty much already in the back of the net. It has certainly gone past him already.
But here's how I'd like to frame this. I'd like to frame it as not a 19-year-old goalkeeper's fault, but Leo Messi.
I'm sure he would like to frame it that way too.
But Leo Messi's second touch, and maybe his first touch, being so good that he set himself up to succeed.
Yeah.
Set himself up to really put the goalkeeper in an unwinnable situation.
Yes, I would agree with that.
All right, so 1-0 to Argentina. Things were looking pretty good at this point for Argentina. They get to half-time at 1-0. I would say it's not like they're creating hundreds of chances, but I think the way Nigeria is set up with, as we said, 2 strikers, Musa and Iheanacho, and they both like to pull wide and try and pull the defence apart. No target man. I always felt like when Nigeria were under pressure, they would clear it, and it was either Musa would run it down, but then maybe it will quickly turn over if it doesn't turn into a chance. They needed more like a big number 9 to hold it up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Or at the
so
very
they could
least,
build something from there.
Yeah, or at the very least have another central attacker, because it did feel like, especially in the final 20 minutes or so, you would see Ahmed Musa come wide, work really hard to win that ball back. Like, say there was a clearance, he wins it, turns, and there's really no one in front of him. Like whoever, Igalo or whomever is still up top with him, is a good 40 yards away. So it's really, I feel like there's ones where you could see him be like, okay, and then he like ran down the line again, and he didn't have many options centrally. But if he had won that, if he'd been able to win that turn and play it central, and then make a run off of that, Igalo makes a run off. You've got like midfield trailing runs through. It allows a bit more consistency in the counterattack than I think they had with basically just those front two trying to bomb down the wings and make something happen.
And the other element is, I think, because you've got the wing backs, Moses and Idowu, they are so pulled back into a back five, it's a long way to go join the attack from there.
Yeah.
Really with wing backs, you're hoping you've got the ball more and the wing backs can be at midfield and they can get forward and they can get back. You're just asking them to go from all the way back to all the way forward to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Moses would have been the one maybe that could have done that. I think he still had a little bit of gas in the tank, but man, he worked his socks off. And the thing I was so impressed by with him...
Did they fall off?
They did, at once. No, the thing that I was most impressed by was even in like the dying minutes before Rojo scores, you could see the moments from Moses when, under pressure, he was able to very calmly play out of the back, like a first-time pass out of the air into the feet of somebody, and then a wall pass back. And
he's been around, right? He's an experienced pro at this point.
Yeah, but that's really difficult when you have tired legs to not just hoof it up. And it felt like he was trying to build a little bit. It's just at that point you can't then sprint down the line, because if you get dispossessed, you've left that spot wide open. So then basically left your two attacking players spread wide hoping to counter, and that's not necessarily going to allow you to have sustained attacks.
But here's the thing, right? Rojo scores almost in the 90th, right? It's in the last few
86,
minutes.
I believe,
86. Nigeria equalised.
They sure did.
In the second half. I can't remember the exact minute. From the Victor Moses penalty
conceded 49th, penalty goes into the 51st.
Okay, so from the 51st to the 86th, Nigeria through, right? This draw takes them through to the round of 16 at the expense of Argentina, and because they lost, Iceland as well. That was hard work. That was a lot of defensive hard work. I think they were eventually just gassed. But I'd like to just talk about how they won that penalty kick that nearly saw them through. It was Mascherano.
It was.
It's Mascherano had his hands all over Balogun.
And it's correctly given, in my opinion, it's a penalty. Mascherano vehemently disagreed, but I think it was both a mistake from Mascherano and really clever work from Balogun. Because when the corner comes in, Mascherano...
A little bit of maybe CONCACAFing from Balogun?
I mean, no, I think...
In terms of making the most of an opportunity?
I think it depends on how you want to see it. You can see it that way. I see it as just sort of recognizing the situation and adapting accordingly. Because basically, he makes a run, Mascherano picks him up. Mascherano really trying, I think you pointed this out, really trying not to like fully wrap around Balogun, but he's trying
not
to kind
Harry
of
Kane
grab one and grab here and like just make sure that his run is obstructed and he feels encumbered. What Balogun does that I think is so smart is that basically he continues to run, but whereas normally players would like kind of get into a wrestling match, like that's, I would say, kind of what happened to Harry Kane. Should have been a penalty, don't get me wrong. But he focuses on trying to get the player off of him and kind of wrestling him away, and that ends in a wrestling match where he's not able to react to the ball anymore.
And then it looks like two guilty parties instead of one guilty party.
And I think Balogun just kind of doesn't try to fight him at all, just like continues his run but doesn't really resist anymore. And so Mascherano, who is already kind of pulling him, I think expecting it to be a tug of war. Imagine it's a tug of war when one side just lets go of the rope, the other side goes flying, and that's basically what happens here. They both go flying, and it's a yellow card for Mascherano and a penalty for Nigeria.
So I really think, Balogun was smart to just say, all right, you keep pulling, I'm going to stop, and then it's going to look real bad for you.
Which is the best way to end a tug of war, because really, tug of war is the worst.
I mean, as an adult, maybe. All right, so penalty kick to Nigeria, correctly given, we believe. Up steps Victor Moses, but only the 2 steps. It's a really short runner, and a really casually taken penalty kick. I think another day this looks bad.
You think?
Yeah.
If it gets obviously if it gets saved?
Obviously if it gets saved, but he didn't put much disguise on it. He doesn't hit it very hard. He kind of just side foots it firmly, but not powerfully, center right of the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm
and
okay
Amani
with that.
dives the other way.
I'm okay with it because it doesn't give the goalkeeper much to read at all, so it ends up being the goalkeeper kind of guessing.
Is that the secret to this? Is that because there's not a big run-up, there's not much time to calculate what Moses is doing?
And so
the secret's in the short run-up.
Yeah, and this is where like I don't think I would have the guts to take a penalty like this, but I think it's then the goalkeeper having to guess, and when a goalkeeper guesses, I think they really do aggressively dive one way or dive the other. And when you are like at full stretch trying to make a play, and if you're Victor Moses, you're just calmly spotting an opportunity and just passing it into that little area where you want the ball to go. I think it's easier to hit that spot than for the goalkeeper to adjust midair or to adjust their dive one way or the other to make a play.
Yep. All right. Also, just quick shout out to Victor Moses' backflip.
Yep.
Much better than Salem Al-Dassari's from yesterday. Correct?
Correct.
I mean, he lands it cleanly.
He sure does.
He lands it cleanly. Okay, from this point forward, it is somewhat panic stations for Argentina.
Yeah.
They have to score if they want to stay in the World Cup. What you said the penalty was at the 51st?
Yep.
There's a sub every 10 minutes, an attacking sub every 10 minutes, including Sergio Aguero gets on there. Yeah?
Yep.
So let's talk about what Argentina do next. I don't think it's a particularly planned out or controlled display of attacking.
No.
And I think that is evident in the way that the goal is scored.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah, because it starts with Marcos Rojo trying to play a ball in with his favored left foot, and he just scuffs it.
Mm-hmm.
He scuffs it to Leo Messi, who then...
Accidentally, right? He shouldn't cross that ball into the box.
Yeah, from the left channel, he scuffs it. It goes to Leo Messi.
Who is not in the box.
No, like left center, top of the box. He tries to play the ball right to the right side channel, and he mishits it, and it's cut out by Nigeria and cleared by Nigeria. So again, yeah, to your point, there's no way they drew it up as like, all right, we're going to mishit this cross, then I'm going to mishit a pass, but then we're going to get the ball back, and they're going to be so comfortable in their defense that they won't see it coming.
They'll be so confused. They'll be thinking, this team can't even pass. What are they doing? It ends up outright with Mercado, who has advanced. And by the way, at this point, I think Argentina was somewhat in a back three, right? Because one of the subs was the left back, Tagliafico, came off for Aguero, for the final 10 minutes. So you've got the right centre-back all the way up on the right wing, and you've got the left centre-back, Marcos Rojo, who's just mishit that cross, has just stood from where he hit. Well, he's advanced a little bit, But he's forward because of where he was before. Mercado crosses, Rojo hits it. Right foot volley. I don't know exactly where in the goal it lands. But
Instep, bottom corner.
It is not instep meaning side foot for us. It is not the type of finish you would expect from a centre-back on his weaker foot.
I mean,
I'll say that.
Somebody did. I'm a Man United fan. Before I
Full
make
disclosure?
this joke, people don't get mad. I did see somebody on Twitter, it was a good joke, that was like, I've only seen him do that into his own goal, which is more so what he does when it comes to Marcos Rojo scoring. That or big towering headers.
Maybe someone whispered that to him. Pretend you're facing the other way. Pretend that's David De Gea in goal.
I mean, that was a clinical finish. Like instep or side foot out of the air. He picks his spot, he finishes, and then he carries a tiny man for like a decent length of the ground.
Leo Messi
hops on his back and goes for a ride. Yeah.
I mean, I know Leo Messi's not tall, but I'll bet he weighs a fair amount.
He has the density of a dying star.
He does. I bet. I bet his BMI is off the charts.
So 2-1 Argentina. We should note very quickly before we get into some other what happens in the future. Nigeria did have the VAR shout in the second half.
Oh yes.
And it's Agallo. It's a ball in for Agallo. He shoots it wide. I think he sees the replay, sees the handball, emphatically gestures for it. I know you were pumped by John Obi Mikel's reaction.
Yeah, so it's Marcos Rojo gets ahead to the cross that's aimed for Agallo. His head, he gets it with his head, hits his hand, then it misses to Agallo. Agallo misses, right? Yep. Agallo's frantically appealing for the handball to the referee.
Don't make this my fault.
Yeah. Redeem me. John Obi Mikel, captain of Nigeria, I think, steps in and really sensibly calms Agallo because he's just yelling at the ref and explains to the referee, hey, I think this hit him in the hand. Let's take a look at this.
And he, it's Cüneyt Çakır, I believe is how you pronounce that
referee?
one. Yeah, he's
with the skinny arms,
the Turkish fellow, and he's already has his hand in his ear. There was a lot of that from him.
So maybe Mikel,
guys, I'm on it. I'm on it.
Yeah, maybe Mikel and Agallo's protestations are nothing to do with anything. Maybe it's just what the VAR people say.
Yeah, but in the moment, emotions are running high. I would get that idea of you saw that, right? You definitely saw that. You saw that, right? I just want to make sure you saw it. You saw it? Okay, you saw it. He said he saw it already. He saw it. Okay, we're good. I understand that.
Should I take the penalty kick now?
Yeah, and I think Çakır gets this right. I'm going to guess they say, hey, did you see that handball? And he said, I did see that handball, but it was, in my opinion, not intentional.
So it did hit him in the hand.
Yes.
Why is it not a penalty kick?
I mean, I think it's correctly given. He does do the replay. I think the reason why is because it's Rojo heading it into his own hand, which then should make you think, well, that sounds like the most obvious of handballs there could be. But it's him in the moment rising up to meet it. He heads it down. Basically, he mishits a header into his own arm, but there's no advantage gained, and it is not a deliberate header. If he had mishit it and then seen a Nigerian player streaking through about to hit it first time and he'd knocked it away really quickly with his hand, that's an obvious penalty. But here, he heads it to his own hand. It doesn't really change the play much because Agallo is still able to shoot, so I think the referee correct in saying unintentional, not deliberate, not a penalty.
Okay, Super Eagles fans, I'm sure, would disagree for very obvious reasons.
And I think Portugal fans would emphatically agree with what I said, since it is somewhat reminiscent of the penalty Iran got yesterday.
Yes, that's true. Okay, one thing worth pointing out, how much blame do we put on Victor Moses? We've praised him a lot because he had a good game. How much blame do we put on Victor Moses for Argentina's winning goal? Because it is him that is next to Marcos Rojo when Rojo scuffs that cross, right? Yep. And then it is Victor Moses that I think... Does he go and mark someone else?
He splits the difference. He's between Marcos Rojo and whomever else is on like the touch line for Argentina.
On the left?
Yeah, and so I think he's trying to do both. He ends up being the closest one to Rojo, so it's a good effort on his part.
He does see and once the cross is coming in from Mercado, he chases all the way back, and he gets there in that he's in frame when Rojo shoots. Yeah. Oh, but he's never defensive side, is he? He's left side of Rojo.
Exactly. And
he's the reason Rojo can't take it with his favoured left foot.
Yes.
So there's that.
There's that, but I think any central defender, any defender would tell you that it's your responsibility then if you're Victor Moses to say, hey guys, there are two over here. He's got to let somebody know. We didn't see any indication that he did that.
I will say I think they might have had an impossible job at that point, because if you think about it, one centre-back is on the right wing, another centre-back is in the box. Argentina have essentially overloaded Nigeria with attackers at that point. If you've even got one or two strikers up there ready for a counter-attack, there's no mathematical way to man-mark everybody.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it might just be a complete overload.
So,
Argentina moving forward.
Yep.
I would say to everybody listening, be wary of narratives that suggest Argentina have figured it all out.
Yep.
Because this was a game where, like we said, we don't know the exact situation between players and coach, but there's definitely a lot of player input in this game. And I even saw a lot of gesturing from Sampaoli during the game that was not 100% heeded by the players.
No,
so there's
not.
that element.
I think you spotted the one where like the play that ultimately ends in the penalty appeal.
Yeah.
I think starts with Sampaoli demanding that someone play the ball wide, and they do, and it gets picked off.
Yes.
And so it was like, man, you are not helping your
Imagine
credentials.
if that had been the narrative.
Yep.
Yeah, and someone had picked up on that. He'd be triple blamed for that. I still think there are problems with Argentina. There's even one good example is the pressing. We talked a little bit about the pressing and how Argentina were more enthusiastic and energetic, and Messi was chasing people down. You showed me a sequence where Higuain was running around in circles,
24th minute,
chasing people. And I think, yes, that effort is impressive, but the fact he's running around in circles suggests there isn't a really fully realised pressing plan, right? This isn't a Jurgen Klopp press. This is an everybody try hard press.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, Argentina had enough to pull this off with their hot hearts, but not enough that you would say, hey, that's a team with a plan plus great players equals possible World Cup contenders.
I do think, if anything, it hurts Sampaoli even more, this result, because it did feel to me like, as you said, it's at best a squad chosen with significant amounts of player input. And I just think about any other manager being told, like, here's the lineup we're going to play, and be like, yep, that sounds good. That doesn't really work well.
Sign this.
Yeah, perfect. But then on top of that, like, just the idea of them going out and working really hard in a way that they obviously were not against Croatia and getting a result, to me, it is a very obvious sign that that team felt held back by what they were being asked to do. And this was a team that, when allowed to do what they want, can at least play with a bit more freedom, a bit more the way they want to. I don't know if that helps them if they come up against a more disciplined team with a big plan to deal with Argentina, to deal with Leo Messi. I don't know if that will be France, so maybe they get past France.
They play France in the round of 16.
But it remains to be seen how they handle that. France is
another team without something that I'd call a very firm plan, as we talked about earlier, right? So that could be a really interesting game. I mean, it will be. I'll watch it.
Okay. I'll be there with you.
Anything else to add on this game?
No, I mean, it's a credit to Argentina that they find a way to win. I think it was definitely helped by the fact that felt very much like a home atmosphere that they were playing in. I think they'll continue to get that until they...
Is that a Leo Messi thing? Like, maybe neutral fans turn up and they just want to see Leo Messi do well?
Probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of... I think Argentinians travel well. It seemed like there were a lot there, but it also, definitely felt like Leo Messi. People, gravitate towards the stars. I don't know if that's how it works from a galactic standpoint, but in terms of Leo Messi, it does.
Before we offer up a quick review of Iceland, Croatia, and a preview of Wednesday's games, we want to let you know about Little Nomad. So if you heard our show maybe 3 days ago, I'm not sure, the days blend together.
Again, time has lost all meaning.
Time has lost all meaning, but...
It's a flat circle, is what Matthew McConaughey told me.
Little Nomad is a boutique store that sells thoughtful gifts for kids. It's based right here in Richmond, Virginia. It is run by a friend and teammate of ours, Anthony, and we're really excited to have Little Nomad sponsoring the Total Soccer Show.
My wife and I purchased something for our then newborn baby nephew. I was talking to her about it the other night after we did the ad, telling her that they were advertising on the show, and she was saying that one of the things she liked about them so much was how well curated their selection was. That you could get
Curated's a good word.
Yeah, you could get these very unique and very nice, like children's clothes, baby clothes, what have you, without the idea of like, oh look, every baby on the street maybe has that one.
Yes, it will be. Not unique, because not everything is just one of a kind, but not widely available is what I'm going to say. Anthony has very carefully purchased things that he likes and that he knows his customers will like. One of my favourites is the Dream T-shirt. Have you seen this? DREAM, donuts rule everything around me. So I think that's a good example of the type of stuff that is in the store.
I'm curious now, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you know what that is a parody of?
I don't.
Oh, no.
Please share.
We got to get you listening to more old school hip hop, because I feel like you maybe just barely caught the Outcast one from a while ago. You didn't get Goody Mob, that's what it was.
Yes.
And that's Wu-Tang, Cash Rules Everything Around Me.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Well, Little Nomads, donuts rule everything
just the way you were like, that's amazing. I was like, he doesn't know that that's Method Man.
I don't. Now I feel silly.
It's all right.
Also, I'm wearing a shirt that I got from there.
Oh, really?
RVA all day. This is one of the few adult clothes they have there. I've shot for my nephews. I've also shot for myself at Little Nomad.
But our listeners maybe will not be able to make it into the store for a number of different reasons, as we talked about last time. So if they wanted to shop at Little Nomad, what could they do, Daryl?
Go to littlenomadshop.com. Go to littlenomadshop.com. The link will be in the show notes. The story of Little Nomad is on the front page, but if you click then the shop tab, you will see all the products that are available online that they will ship to you. So Richmond, Virginia-based Little Nomad, littlenomadshop.com.
Beautiful. So, with that said, shall we... Well, I guess we've already spoiled Iceland-Croatia, haven't we?
We had to as part of the Argentina-Nigeria thing.
All right. Well, so, I'm going to say this is going to be an abbreviated review of this game.
I think that's fair. I think most people were watching Argentina-Nigeria. And if we're honest, we had it on, Iceland-Croatia. We paid some attention to it, but eyes were up top.
I think when it was 1-1, we were paying a bit more attention.
Yeah, because that would have had a dramatic... impact on the outcome. Yeah, so Iceland had to win this game to go through, basically, right? We got that math correct?
And even then, it might have been tight.
They did not win this game. They lost 2-1 to Croatia. The interesting part to me about this game is that Croatia rested so many star players, so many of the big names, and still got the victory. This is what you call a win-win for Croatia.
Absolutely, because and it's kind of what we thought might happen. They rested players, but the players that came in obviously have something to prove, want to show that maybe they should be challenging for starting spots or should be starting out right.
And or are just a bit happier to have played at the World Cup and been involved in Croatia's World Cup effort. This is the perfect scenario.
Yeah,
but you don't lose momentum by not putting in a performance or getting the win.
Absolutely. And instead what you do is rest your goalkeeper, you rest your entire defense, you rest several of your midfielders.
Lovren had to come in and play 20 minutes, right?
Yes, he had to play 20 minutes and conceded a penalty, so there you go. They had Mario Mandzukic rested as well. Ivan Rakitic played, I think, 8 minutes of this game.
Modric didn't even play 90, right? He played 60-something?
Yeah, and Ante Rebic also did not play.
How about that?
So, lots of players rested, and the momentum remains because it's a solid result against Iceland.
Well, one of the players that came in was Milan Badel. He scored a great goal and essentially set up Croatia's winner by winning a tackle at midfield.
Yeah, and playing it in for the assist.
So he got the assist, So should we start with the goal?
Sure.
It is a volley that he propels into the floor. It's a goal that I love. Where it's a bounce volley, right? You volley it into the floor, it bounces past the keeper. Yeah,
absolutely.
It always looks like some sort of mistake, but the more I watch this, the more I think Milan Badel knows exactly what he's doing.
Absolutely, because it's a deflected ball in, it's bouncing. I think Kramaric is also there, but Badel is having none of it.
Yeah.
But the way he hits it, it's off of a big bounce, so it's coming up off the ground, which is way harder to hit when you want to hit that volley, ideally, is as it's like just leaving the ground or just before it meets the ground, one of those two. In this situation, it's about hip height, and he is able to get his foot over the top of it. I think you joke that he probably does yoga. I think you're probably not wrong.
Yes, to have that sort of core strength, to have your leg that high and not grimace.
Because with that ball going up, if you hit it anywhere in like the half or lower half of the ball, it's going above the goal, and it's going to be embarrassing.
You're just continuing its upward trajectory and increasing the upward angle. But he said sounding almost mathematical, but mostly just winging it.
I think I got a C+ in physics, so there you go. But he able to hit it down, gets the hip over it.
I got to see me.
Okay. What does that mean?
It means see the teacher after.
Okay, that's what I thought, but then I was like...
This test has not gone well for you. We should have a talk.
I don't know how your schools work, because one time I said I graduated from college, and a British person was like, what? Like, very confused. So different things mean different things. But the fact that he's able to get the hips over and get it down, that's the only way he's going to be able to keep this on frame.
Yeah.
And then obviously hitting it down causes problems for the goalkeeper, who can't get on the end of it.
It's unexpected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in it goes 1-0 to Croatia.
I mean, they're not all as easy as stopping Leo Messi penalties,
Not
right?
so much now.
Yeah. So 1-0 to Croatia. Iceland equalise from the penalty spot.
Penalty spot?
You mentioned the Lovren handball. I actually can't remember who takes the penalty kicks for
Sigurdsson.
Iceland, but I was going to guess Gylfi Sigurdsson. So 1-1, they're sort of in the running, right? They just need a second goal towards the end. They would have been going through if they got it, but instead it's not Gunnarsson, it's Halfredsson. Tries a Cruyff in his own half. He's trying to get something started, right? Tries a Cruyff in his own half. Milan Vedel sees it happen and he says, I knew Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff was a friend of mine. You, sir, I know Johan Cruyff. Takes the ball off. That's a paraphrase, right? That's not a direct. Takes the ball off of Halfredsson, feeds in Perisic, 2-1 to Croatia.
Yep. And I think the two things that I found most impressive in this tackle is that, one, he's able to close a good 15 yards on Halfredsson. He gets right up on him to the point where I think he puts him under the pressure, and that's why Halfredsson goes for that Cruyff. Badel, however, tracks with his right foot, so he tracks the run, but also tackles with his left foot. It's a very interesting, weird, I don't know, scorpion tackle or something like that. I don't know what it should be, but he gets it with both. It's a pincer tackle.
Pincer tackle.
A double envelopment tackle. He gets him from both sides.
Oh, gotcha. You have to explain it to Tormund.
Yeah.
Which is almost an Icelandic joke.
Yeah, there we go.
But not quite. So Perisic is the one that is fed through by Badel. Great finish from Perisic. He's having a nice old tournament so far as well.
He is. And how did you summarize this game?
Oh, so it doesn't quite work, but it was almost a bunch of suns and itches.
Yep.
but not quite, because Milan Bedel ruins it for Croatia. And I think Tin Jedvaj, our young Scouting Network centre-back / right-back, also plays. Are you checking the rest of the...
I'm checking. Iceland accommodated you.
They
so
did?
At least there's that.
Yeah.
Yes, it was all Suns. But then,
Thanks,
and Choluka as well starting. Get it together,
Croatia.
Croatia.
It was closer. Maybe we need Iceland-Serbia to make this happen.
That could work.
Yeah.
Yes, but well done to Croatia.
Bye-bye to Iceland. So it wasn't Euro 2016.
No.
But here's the way I'd like to think of this is if this was Iceland's first appearance at a major tournament, it's their first World Cup, right? But if it was their first appearance at a major tournament, I think we'd be sort of somewhat patronisingly patting them on the back and saying, hey, well done. You hung in there. You got a point against Argentina. It was pretty good, right? So it wasn't Euro 2016, but it was pretty good. So Iceland should really go home with their heads held high.
They should.
Yeah?
I absolutely agree. And we enjoyed them from a tactical standpoint, I would say. We found the tactics interesting. I think at this point...
Maybe not 7 games worth. Maybe 3's enough.
I think... at this point, given as England aside, obviously, we don't have the U.S. to root for. There's teams that I like, but there's no team that I'm really strongly pulling for except for maybe England. So I think at this point, you and I are sort of looking at the groups and thinking, who are the 2 teams that we would most like to get out from an interesting game standpoint? And I will say, while I'm sad to see Iceland go, if they had advanced, it would be a lot more of defense, look to hit on the break. And I'm excited to see Croatia get out instead of them.
Croatia and Argentina.
I guess actually, it's Argentina getting out instead of Iceland.
Okay, should we preview Wednesday's games?
Let's do it.
It's all backwards. It should be, right? It should be group, where are we, C, D? It should be group...
E and F. So it should be F first, or it should be E first, but it's F first instead.
It should be E in the morning, F in the afternoon. They've flipped it around on us for, I guess, geography reasons. But we're starting with Group F.
F is first,
at 10 a.m. And that means 10 a.m. on Fox Sports 1 is Germany, South Korea. And 10 a.m. on Fox, Big Fox, X-Files Fox, NFL on Fox, it's Mexico versus Sweden.
Yep, as our friend Barry Elmore said, formerly Last Man on Earth, Fox.
Formerly Last Man on Earth, Fox.
Yes, and it is worth noting, I think I had it wrong last time we talked about this. I said Korea were already eliminated. I'm going to say they are all but eliminated, but they are still eligible to advance theoretically.
It's mathematically possible. It's just not realistically possible.
No, right now it's Mexico on top of the table, 6 points plus 2 goal difference. Then Germany, Sweden each on 3 with plus 0. Korea last.
Excuse me, plus 0?
Plus 0. That's how it's listed on the thing I'm looking at.
I think you should get a C me in math.
And well, it's got to be something. I think it's positive to have 0 as opposed to negative to have negative.
Here's what I'm going to bet is whatever like HTML type thing is holding that table requires to have a plus or a minus in that column.
I'm sure this is what listeners are tuning in for. And then Korea in last, 0 points.
So Germany, South Korea.
And -2 goal difference with a negative in front.
That seems fair. In fact, let's start with Mexico, Sweden, because I think this is the one that we will have on the big screen. Is that fair?
Sure.
For me, it is, yeah? Mm-hmm. So on Fox, Mexico versus Sweden. As you said, Sweden with 6 points. Excuse me, Mexico with 6 points. But not yet. Are they guaranteed to be through?
No.
They are not. Okay, so what do they need to get it done? A draw at the least, right?
A draw, is all they need. Even losing, they could...
So the Beatles were wrong.
Yes. And then even losing, I think they could still advance. But I think they're definitely going to be looking to maybe not concede so many goals.
All right, so you're Juan Carlos Osorio. Mm-hmm. You're famous for your rotaciones, where you change the team around for every game. And yet, for the first 2 games, you've had your plan against Germany, which has absolutely paid off with a win. Then you've just changed things a little bit against South Korea, but not much. What do you think you're doing against Sweden?
I think the way this game has been covered is indicative of the fact that people aren't sure what Juan Carlos Osorio is going to be.
Like, will he be a rotator or will he not?
Exactly. Because we know his past history. Mm-hmm. If you use that as precedent, it means
3 goalkeepers for every group stage.
Yeah, we could see 8 changes, and I think, or we could see 1 or 2, and it really is up in the air. I think different experts say different things. For example, I heard Herculez Gomez on ESPN saying that he wouldn't be surprised if Talavera started in goal instead of Ochoa, because Talavera, I guess, is a bigger goalkeeper, better at handling crosses and aerial challenges, which is the expectation for what Sweden will be doing.
Okay, it would have worked, but Sweden, 4-4-2, somewhat compact, either deep or at least narrow, or at least together. They won't get spread. Mm-hmm. And an aerial threat, right? Berg, Toivonen, Lindelof and Granqvist, if they get forward. I could see Osorio looking at this and saying, we need bigger players. Yeah. So maybe it's not crazy if Talavera starts. Maybe it's not crazy if Raul Jimenez starts over Chicharito.
It's an argument made by Tom Marshall, friend of the show, Tom Marshall, who's basically pointing out that you give Chicharito a rest, you also get Jimenez in there who can hold up play a bit more, and then also is obviously good at defending set pieces.
I'd be in favour of that, honestly, because he just signed for Wolves, at least on loan for a year, so I'd like to get a 90-minute look at him.
See him a little bit more?
Yeah,
and then the other one that Tom Marshall suggested was that potentially either Layun or Carlos Vela could get a break. Maybe Marco Fabian comes in, because according to Marshall, Fabian is one of the best shooters from distance for Mexico, and that might be something they need against a resolute defense from Sweden.
Because this is the thing that I've seen, I think I've mentioned this before, I've seen Mexico struggle with a compact defense before, right? I definitely have memories of watching them cross balls in against, I think, Trinidad it was, and not being very successful doing so. So maybe going Jimenez from the start could be helpful.
Was it the Iceland B team or the Bosnia B team that came and did the January camp friendlies?
I can't remember.
Whoever it was, I think even against
it was
them.
Bosnia for the US, so it was Bosnia for Mexico.
Yeah,
probably.
I think against that team they struggled. Again, it wasn't Mexico's strongest team by any stretch of the imagination, but that was another one that I remember, it was a lot of crosses into the box that didn't come to much.
So speculation, Chucky Lozano plays or does not play? Because he's really been the star guy so far.
Yeah, again, it could be any number of people switching out, but I would venture to guess that Lozano comes in. Stays in, rather.
That's a Mexico preview. It could be any number of people. It's really accurate.
I mean, the only other wrinkles would be Hector Moreno and Hector Herrera, both on yellow cards. I doubt either one of them sits, just given the way the lineup is made up, or the roster is made up.
I've been arguing Hector Herrera is maybe the most important player on the Mexico team that we're not talking about. I really think he does a lot in midfield in terms of defending, connecting, and attacking.
Yep.
His partnership with Guardado, I think, is really important in the Germany game and the Korea game. I'd be surprised if they break up that partnership, even if they try and get some extra height in there. I'm not sure it's worth the trade-off.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah?
I think it's a strange world for Mexican fans to be living in, because I don't think most of them would have thought that they would get that win against Germany. So to be in a position where they've won their first 2 group games but could still theoretically be eliminated is a little bit strange. It's also worth noting Mexico have never won 3 straight games at a World Cup before. Ooh. So they could make history.
So, that would be the first step towards getting the 5th game, right, is to win 3 3 in a row. Okay, we haven't talked much about Sweden, but we expect what? Bergen Toivonen up front. We expect some sort of 4-4-2. Yep. They basically need to go for a win, right? I mean, I think a draw might do it if somehow Germany lose to Korea, but I mean, you wouldn't want to gamble on that.
No, you would not.
So one thing worth noting, Durmaz. Durmaz is the guy that came in off the bench against Germany, slid in, gave away the free kick that Toni Kroos scored from in the 95th minute. He has apparently been racially abused and received death threats.
As has his family,
Online, mostly, because that's where all the worst things happen, the worst digital things at least. So I'm wondering if Durmaz starts or Durmaz does not start, if he gets a chance to not redeem him. Well, yeah, redeem himself just for that free kick, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean to imply that any of the death threats were earned, but redeem himself in terms of what he's doing for the team.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the team itself has rallied around him. I think they issued a public statement that was very aggressive against racists in language that isn't typically used.
Which is the correct stance.
Correct.
I mean, just worth pointing out sometimes here in the United States.
So I enjoyed that, and I do put stock in the idea of, like as we saw with Argentina today, that there can be those little things that rally you. In some cases, it's terrible people online. In some cases, it's terrible people in your dugout. And I just wonder if maybe that gives Sweden another thing to rally around, that another thing to motivate them to get that result against Mexico.
Final thing from Sweden, we haven't seen a great deal from Emil Forsberg.
No, we have not.
He's supposed to be the sort of the creator. We haven't seen a lot from him. I'm not sure Sweden have given him much opportunity to do much.
No.
But this may be his last chance to make a mark on this World Cup.
Yep.
All right, so Mexico-Sweden, 10 a.m. on Big Fox. I think maybe we were quite long on that preview, right? So maybe let's go a bit faster on Germany-South Korea. So, like you said, South Korea need a mathematical miracle, a win and then some scores to go their way. To go through. Germany is the team that can do it, but there's considerable pressure on them to perform.
And we have, for Germany, Jerome Boateng suspended for this game. Mats Hummels should return to the lineup, so they're just going to continue to miss each other in the night, those two. And then
like centre-backs that pass in the night.
Exactly. And then Sebastian Rudy still out from the injury he sustained.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He had to have minor nose surgery. I don't know if that rules him out for the entire tournament or just he needs the surgery, and then if they advance, he puts on a face mask. So that seems likely to be.
If Rudy's out, does Khedira come back in? Does Gundogan get to start ahead of him? I'm asking you these questions. You don't know the answers.
I don't know the answer. If I were guessing, I'd say Gundogan. Yeah. I think Germany want to get a result. They want to make sure that they're comfortable, and then maybe you see more defensive changes in the second half. And I think if this game is close, it will be the one that we start to pay attention to more if Germany aren't able to pull ahead in the first half.
Yeah, here's my guess. We watch Mexico-Sweden on the big screen. If it's 0-0 at half-time, our eyes will start drifting towards, hey, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Will we see Mesut Ozil on the lower screen starting
You keep asking me, you answer the question. Are we going to see Mesut Ozil, Daryl?
I don't know. Is
that allowed?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I keep asking you is because I don't know. I'm hoping that you'll give the answer. So just to let listeners know, he did not play at all against Sweden, even when Germany were chasing the game.
Yep.
I don't believe there was any sort of injury. That's a major decision from Jogi Löw, right?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a few of them. Does he go with Timo Werner? Does he go with Mario Gomez? Is Julian Draxler in there?
The interesting thing is in the second half against Sweden, he brought Gomez in and just shifted Timo Werner to the left. I think one possible option is he just starts set up that way with Werner on a wing and Gomez at centre forward.
It's possible. There are many permutations for this German team, and especially if they don't get it right off the start, how Jogi Löw adapts to that will be very fascinating, because I have to believe that this is a game Jogi Löw, not just because they want to advance, but because I think he wants to show all is well.
Yes.
And if you're tied at halftime or losing at halftime, that is obviously not a sign like, yep, we've got the engine humming again. And I think they're going to be coming out looking to get goals early and often.
Yep, and if the engine is humming, you should check to make sure they're not cheating on the diesel emissions. All right, so
terrible.
South Korea.
Yes, South Korea are strangely for a team that we've seen not want to rotate too much. They're going to have some lineup questions of their own, specifically in regards to Ki, their captain, Ki Sung-young.
It's not really a question, right? He's out. He has an injury. He is out. As I understand it from reading some Korean coverage, they do not have a key replacement in terms of a guy that can spray the ball around and pass like that.
I thought that was a pun for a minute.
No, there was no pun coming. I saw the look on your face. I think what I've read they will do is replace him with Koo Jae-chul, who is more of a combative defensive midfielder. So you won't necessarily have the connectivity that Key provides, but you will have maybe a bit more grit and fight in central midfield.
Yep.
I'm not sure that's what Korea need if they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I would expect this to be Korea bunkered and looking to break, maybe trying to exploit opportunities if the German fullbacks get forward, as they did against Mexico.
If I was Kimmich, I'd be a bit more conservative this game.
I mean, I think that,
Same for Jonas Hector. I'd maybe calm it down a little bit, at least to start with. Yeah.
Because if you leave spacing behind, then that does present opportunities for Korea, especially with Son.
Yeah, Son Heung-min, you don't want to be chasing him and then Kimmich's way up the field, right? Because that's how Mexico scored, for example.
So that's South Korea v Germany, Fox Sports 1, Mexico v Sweden on Fox. Those are at 10 a.m. Then at 2 p.m., we've got Serbia v Brazil and Switzerland v Costa Rica.
All right, so Serbia v Brazil is on Big Fox. Serbia have to win.
Yep.
Serbia, beat Costa Rica, lost to Switzerland. Now they basically have to beat Brazil, right? If they draw with Brazil, then they've got to hope Costa Rica beats Switzerland, which I think we'll talk about in the preview is not impossible, but again, not what you should be planning for to happen. Okay, so this will be interesting to see this Serbia team try and take it to Brazil.
Yes, and it's a Serbia team that feel very much aggrieved after the result against Switzerland. They filed an official complaint with FIFA. They allege that there have been many calls that did not go their way and many calls that should have gone their way that did not.
I believe the coach called for the referee to be put before The Hague.
That's interesting.
Which is, for just a penalty kick not given, is sort of an overreaction.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah,
but I would expect that to feed into how Serbia approach this game, knowing that there's going to be a lot of pressure on them.
They'll be fired up.
I think so. That could be risky for them, though. They have 6 players on yellow cards: Matic, Milivojevic, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, Mitrovic, Ivanovic, and I forget his name, but the guy who slapped the Costa Rican in the first game.
Oh, Prijovic?
Yeah. All of them on yellows. So
that might not be a problem if they don't make it, though.
That's the case. And so I think you're going to see them not necessarily caring about who picks up yellows, although I have a feeling Bratislav Ivanovic picks up a yellow in this game.
So, let's talk about this. There's a good chance the way they've been going is that Milinkovic, not Milinkovic-Savic, but regular Milinkovic, plays centre-back, right? He's the younger defender that they have, and therefore Ivanovic plays at right-back. That means Branislav Ivanovic versus Neymar down that flank. I'm taking Neymar in that battle every single time.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be difficult for Serbia.
In fact, I'm taking Neymar 9 times, and on the 10th time out of 10, I'm taking red card for Ivanovic.
That actually is, I will not be surprised if we see a red card.
2 yellows for Ivanovic in the first 55 minutes.
Yeah, because I think this time
getting specific.
The refs are going to be clued in, as we've seen them kind of evolve the way they call games based on what's happened in the previous games.
That is happening, by the way.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
And I think you're going to see them looking at Neymar, knowing that he's been fouled. I'm just assuming more times than any other player at the World Cup.
Yep.
They're looking at Serbia, who have so many bookings and a very physical game against Switzerland. I won't be surprised if there's a booking inside the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
And I won't be surprised if Serbia don't finish this game with 11 men.
Okay, on the plus side for Serbia, what they do have going for them is the talents of Alexander Mitrovic, the centre forward, very good in the air, very good at fighting for the ball, good at holding it up, and they have Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, super talented, all kinds of skills, can pick out beautiful passes. It didn't quite connect versus Switzerland, but there's still a chance that connection is on.
I would put him in the Emil Forsberg category of a player who we're both very excited about, who we've seen glimpses of, but we haven't seen that defining moment or that one thing to point back to as like, remember when he did that? That was really impressive. Maybe we see that against Brazil.
There we go. Okay, anything else on Serbia before we talk Brazil?
Nope.
Brazil's lineup is weirdly easy, I think, because we know what shape Chicha is going with, right? He's going to go that 4-3-3. The questions for me are Danilo or Fagner at right back, but that's just injury related, right? If Danilo's fit, Danilo starts.
We would assume Fagner looked fine in their last game. I'm guessing it's Fagner. And then the other one would be Douglas Costa, came in at halftime, but he apparently picked up an injury, so he is unlikely to play.
So second chance for Willian, which I'm all about. I think Willian's an excellent player. I would have started him anyway. Okay, centre forward, Gabriel Jesus or Roberto Firmino?
I mean, it will be it will be Gabriel Jesus. I got wishful thinking there because I could see...
Chicha has a pecking order,
Yeah,
right?
I could see wanting to play Roberto Firmino. I understand many Brazil-Liverpool fans were screaming for him to be introduced, and when he was, they did look better.
Brazil-Liverpool?
Yeah, perfect. I don't think he starts this game. I think he is certainly involved. I bet he gets minutes, but I don't think he starts. Could always be wrong, but I don't see why Chichi would change things at the last minute.
The one wrinkle is if Chicha's feeling super bold, is he replaces Paulinho with Roberto Firmino, and then it's almost like an extra forward. But he's not doing that because he's a big Paulinho fan, right?
Yeah. And I would also say, especially because Serbia, again, have to win this game. They can't rely on other results, or at least they shouldn't rely on other results. So I think that speaks to Serbia getting stretched a little bit. I think there will be opportunities for pacey attackers like, say, Neymar, Coutinho, Gabriel Jesus. I'm not sure he needs to go all-out attacking right away.
Oh, Coutinho. We nearly didn't mention him. He's scored 2 goals so far,
He's so good.
Yeah, he is so good. All right, the other game at 2 p.m. is Switzerland versus Costa Rica. Once again, a draw is good enough for Switzerland.
Yep.
A draw would see them through. But if I was a Swiss fan, I wouldn't be taking anything for granted.
I just want to say, with everything we're saying, there are many permutations. We get that. So we would prefer not get tweets that say something like, yeah, but if this happens and then they win by 9 goals and they lose by 4 goals, then we know. But more or less, Switzerland are good with a draw.
Yeah, send your emails to no one will read this at TotalSoccerShow.com.
Yes. And I think the big thing for Switzerland heading into this...
your mathematical group permutation emails. All the other emails we do read.
Yeah, that's true. The big one for Switzerland is that they will have Xherdan Shaqiri, Granit Xhaka, and Stefan Lichtsteiner available. There was theoretical possible talk/rumor mongering that they would all be suspended for the celebrations against Serbia. Instead, they've just been fined and will be eligible for selection.
So they were fined 10,000 Swiss francs each and then 5,000 for Lichtsteiner. I think those guys can cover it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's still a lot more money than the Mexican FA were fined, but whatever. Anyway, but they didn't do the chant last time, so
yes, they did. So that worked, right?
Yes,
that worked. And I would bet Xhaka and Shaqiri will not be doing the double-headed eagle Albania flag celebration against Costa Rica, because I think that celebration was very Serbia specific.
Yes, I think so. I don't think that they'll be have particular animosity against Costa Rica. I do think there's a chance, and I know this could very much come back to bite me when Switzerland win 4 or 5-0.
If it does, send those emails to Taylor at TotalSoccerShow.com.
I could also see Costa Rica getting a result here. I could see them kind of throwing this group into chaos by getting a win.
Yeah, so it's not gone well for Costa Rica so far, but let's not forget that 5-4-1 turning into a 3-4-3 as we go genuinely has the potential to be effective, right? So you could end up with Costa Rica doing, we call it the wedge, right? They form a wedge essentially and force you down the outside, steep slopes on either of the outside. And then they break through Orenia. And Orenia is very good at running into a channel, holding up a ball, connecting with a wing back, then Brian Ruiz is through on goal. That could happen to Switzerland. It would be weird if Costa Rica go an entire World Cup without putting something together that results in an upset.
Yeah. I think, all right, this is going to be very, I think esoteric, I don't know, but I think it was 2007 March Madness. Syracuse were not going to make the tournament, but they went and won the Big East, I believe it was. But they went through this very improbable run where everybody thought they were done. They kept winning. They won the tournament, so then they qualified for March Madness, and everybody was like, oh man, these people are at peak form. They're going to go really deep in the tournament. They lost in the first round. Because I think sometimes when you get really emotionally up and you kind of fight your way through and you get the win, it can be really hard to get right back up for the next big competition.
Oh, we're not talking about Costa Rica here, are we?
We're talking about Switzerland.
Yes.
And I think Switzerland, having had that really emotional last minute win, it might be difficult to get up that same level of energy and enthusiasm and sort of feeling like we've got to do this, we've got to fight a way through against a Costa Rica team that will be defensive and frustrating.
Interesting. One thing
might also finish 4-0 to Switzerland.
One thing is, if Costa Rica make you shoot from distance, Xherdan Shaqiri might not be too unhappy about that.
No, probably not.
I think he might like an excuse to be shooting.
He always has at least a pop a game. Yeah.
So we can guarantee he'll have at least a pop from at goal from distance. I want to shout out, just because I keep mentioning him, Manuel Akanji, centre back for Switzerland. If anyone's going to stop Costa Rica scoring on a break, I'd put good money on him.
I hadn't thought about him.
That's interesting, right?
He's pretty good.
He is pretty good. I think he's becoming quietly one of the standout performers at this World Cup. I think there'll be some big teams taking notice. He's already at Borussia Dortmund, right? So there's not a move coming, but I think he's going to be on a lot of people's radars after his first couple of performances.
I'm really excited to watch him defend Orenia, because Orenia, I mean, obviously he can handle a physical affair and he can yell right back at Serbian players if he needs to.
Has he ever played against telescopic legs?
Yeah, well, that's true, but he's also very crafty and very smart and can score from tight angles. If you give him one chance, he might finish that one chance. He doesn't need 5 to score 1.
So it's a different kind of test for Akanji then. It's a CONCACAF test.
It's a CONCACAF test.
He's probably never faced a CONCACAF attacker before.
I would venture to guess in a competitive match, you're right. I don't know how many. Yeah, I guess he hasn't been at previous World Cups, so yeah, why not? Sure.
All right, so there you go. Switzerland, Costa Rica, 2 p.m, same time as Serbia, Brazil. There are your Group F and Group E previews. See, I didn't know before. Now I know. Previews are informative.
F comes first.
F comes first. Obviously, in the backwards alphabet. Maybe because it's Fox, F comes first. All right, so we will be back tomorrow to review all 4 of those games and to get prepped for the finales of Group G and Group H. Just want to say thank you to Liverpool Jeans sponsoring today's show. Thank you to Little Nomad. Please support our sponsors if you need jeans or if you need to buy something for kids or your kids or kids that you know. Taylor Rockwell, over there, nodding your head. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Right back at you, buddy.
Listeners, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.